Hi, it's Kirby Summers, and I welcome you to my true crime podcast. So, again, I want to thank those of you who take the trouble to smash the like button. If you have not done so, do me a big favor, just like it. It helps with the algorithm. So, here's the thing. I have been recuperating. I've been sick for a while. Is it a cold? Is it that I'm run down? Is it that I'm re-traumatized by going into Leslie Wexner's past and his family and discovering things along the way that, I had been sort of tucked away. Even within my memoir were certain things that connect to this. And I don't know how many of you realize that my abuser's family, the Ricklases, were very close to Wexner and his family for a very long time. They had many things in common. Among these, Ohio State University, Michelle and Rickless sold to Leslie Wexner a little shy of 800 learner stores that Wexner then sort of converted into more women's stores of different types. Um, they share a very similar history, and of course, they're part of the same. I'm just going to say sort of things. I need to be somewhat not too clear on this platform. So I just put the finishing touches. I believe I might change it because I'm not going to drop the part 2 of the series Deconstructing Wexner until Sunday. But I added some more things because I discovered that I had information that ties the secret or many secrets of Jeffrey Epstein's very strange blue and white temple that he had on his island. And I'm not going to even say the name of what the island was or how it was commonly referred to. And you all know what island I'm talking about. The official name of the island is Little St. James, which frankly Epstein referred to as Little St. Jeff's because his name clearly is Jeff. So I found the connection between Wexner's past and the strange blue and white temple, because like it's really like a temple with a very mysterious parts, like it's got the golden dome. It had a couple of owls, which, these kind of disappeared after Hurricane Maria some years ago. However, nothing has really ever been explained by a survivor. Here's the thing, though. I had information because I told you I've been collecting information on Leslie Wexner for a couple of decades. So as I'm pulling through, pulling what I'm going to use for the series and going over my notes, I discovered I had actually, and it was before I knew about Epstein's temple. So hence the reason that I haven't really written about it until now. But I had information that kind of explains a lot about the temple. It explains a lot about some of the clothing that we saw connected to Leslie Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein. And as I said in my preview, and I think most of you are on my mailing list, so you may have gotten the preview that I sent about part 2. Oh gosh, it's like hard to figure out what I can say on this platform. It's a little disconcerting. So then let me just briefly say that there is a very important murder that happened that connects to present day, and that may very well explain Jeffrey Epstein's fascination with a lot of members of the royal family, may very well explain why Prince Andrew is the only person held to account, even if it's only on a civil level. It also goes a little bit further and will perhaps in a future episode, maybe in part 3, I don't know. This is going to be a very long, deep dive into all things Wexner, which really nobody has done. But it even will shed light on Meghan Markle and Harry. I mean, it's just the pieces fit together like a glove. And there's just so much to share with you. And then, you know, and again, it's like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like, what can I tell you on this podcast? Because like there's like I think about 7,500 of you following me here on YouTube, shy of 5,000, and most of you probably are here on YouTube, are subscribed to my newsletter. And as most of you are aware, my main Twitter account with approximately 35,000 after I blocked about 100,000, to be honest, you know, was taken away from me in November of 2022. So, but I think a good portion of those of you following me here are also on my Substack, which is where I'm running the Deconstructing Wexner series. And so you probably have already read the preview. That said, I included additional information not available on the preview. And if you're not a paying member, you can just join and go read the preview because it's free. You know, there are some articles that I upload for free, just like I do here on YouTube. You know, not everything is behind a paywall. There are some things I need to keep behind a paywall. So the other thing I discovered is something similar that I kind of bumped into when I was working on my book, Ghislaine Maxwell, an unauthorized biography. You're going to have to excuse my voice because sometimes it just disappears. It's odd because I've been invited to do a couple of podcasts and I've had to beg off because I can't trust my voice for, you know, longer than a few minutes. But anyway, when I was working on Ghislaine Maxwell, an unauthorized biography, I would, you know, go back to certain links that I had kept while I was doing the research, and those pages were scrubbed. As in addition to the pages being scrubbed, and even from the archive machine, they were scrubbed. But in addition to those pages being scrubbed, there were a lot of photographs that were no longer online. I happen to have been lucky. I had a copy of most of the ones that I needed. However, I'm finding that the same thing is happening with almost everything connected to Wexner. So if you, like me, are very suspicious of Wexner, and I've known about him for 30 years or more, then collect the photos because they're not going to be around forever. In fact, I would be surprised if they're around by the end of the year. Everything is being scrubbed. And in particular, the things that are being scrubbed, I included some of that stuff in part 2, which again drops on Sunday, the 28th of January, are really relevant to the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell saga. That said, Epstein and Maxwell represent a tiny, tiny, tiny portion of what most people see. I think that those of you who read this new series and who have been following my work, because I dive into a lot of the people surrounding the so-called trafficking ring by Epstein. It's not necessarily just Epstein, and of course I've included a lot of information throughout the years, but in particular, this series is going to shed light on, I mean, God, sacrificial stuff. Okay, I can just leave it there. Sacrificial stuff. There's other, you know what, I can't say anymore. I really have to sort of like not say more than what I have already said. In any event, my throat is really bothering me. I'm gonna have to just probably stop talking so I could get better. Do give this a like. If you haven't subscribed, do so. And if you're interested in part 2 of Deconstructing Wexner, part 1 went up last week, then become a member of my Substack. That's really, it's between my Substack and my Patreon where I feel more comfortable. This platform doesn't feel that safe to me, all right, guys, you have a really good day. Thanks again for everything. Talk soon. Bye.